Yes, let's do this, guys. And this is our probably our first deck brew for the upcoming standard rotation with Dominaria United. And I prioritize Rakdos since given that I'm a Black Red Aggro fan. And for this one, we take a look at this deck, which I think I kind of reference for the several Rakdos Aggro lists that has been going around in various tournaments, and also those decks that are performing well. So let us check what it will be the build after this rotation, in which most of these components are going to be out of standard. So this is the deck, visual view of the list, not the final, but probably the still most components are added, and which I think would be the future part of this. Also, given that we have the veil, but only added as 3 copies, along with this 6 events of Nixilis adversary, which has the same, probably the same functionality in terms of having your opponents discard a card from their hand, in effect that they will lose life in the process. So we go with creature choices. The rest are basic, probably. The Blood-Tide Harvesters, 4 copies. Tenacious Underdogs, I made it into 4 because this will be a good combo with that of not only of Nixilis but also can be discarded with Liliana, which you can later on pay for its blitz cost to make it go back to the battlefield. 2 copies of Tended Adversary. This is a good mana sink in the late game, since having 2 copies makes you draw it less in the early turns, in which later on you can use it to pump up enough zombies or zombie threats to gam up the board against your opponents, and probably win that manner. So we have 2 new cards from Dominaria United. First up is Evolved Sleeper. This is Black's version of Figure of Destiny, in which it is also a good mana sink in a way that your extra mana can have it to 2/2 and then later on becomes a 3/3 Correction Human Cleric. But the most relevant here probably is its 3rd level activation. It becomes a 4/4 with a battle counter, and then you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So a good choice to have also another card draw source and a 4/4 creature in the threat in the setup. So the second new card, the Raven Man. This effect, it has its passive effect, wherein whenever a player discards a card this turn, you can create a bonus black bird creature token with flying. So in the same way, you may have, if you have several choices of discarding to Liliana or of Nixilis, you can still be able to have this Raven Man's activation at the beginning of each end step, which make it very good because you can also trigger at the end step of your opponents if ever they have also ways to do some discard effects of their own. So 2-drop on itself can also good mana sink to discard them, have them discard a card in the late game. Now for the 2-drops combination, also added Hungry for More, since also having to create a 3/1 threat, but this just going to go out for a turn, but still good if you're going to combine it with that of Nixilis casualty ability. And also you can also discard it for Liliana, since you can still flashback it for the late game. So along with it, we check on the enchantment support. We have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. This is also give enchantment for Rakdos, as mainly is probably the best played card in the standard at the moment. So having also discard effects that can trigger Ravenman's ability, also produce tokens to ramp up your creatures, or use it to fuel your Voltage Surge and other related shenanigans that you can maximize out of this enchantment saga. Now we have 2 copies, not only that, but we are going to just only have 2 copies of Myth of Massacre, and we may consider another copy in the sideboard if given that the prevalence of the aggro decks that you're going to face in your best of 3 matchups. Then I think 2 is just good and ideal number for this build in pre-sideboard setup. Now we lastly check on the removals. We have 4 copies of Infernal Grasp. So these are just basically killing off any creature at the cost of 2 life, which you can still later on again with these lifelink effects, Myth of Massacre's trigger, and other shenanigans that may have. So 4 copies of it for a solid spot removal, and it's backed up by a single lightning strike. Since this is reprinted in the new set, you can still go ahead with dealing the final damage to the dome, or dealing any 3 damage for 2 mana, and the support of Bolted Surge, which can deal 2 and 4 damage if you were going to sacrifice artifact to this setup. So we also sources of artifacts are Fable's treasure tokens, blood tokens from Bloodtide Harvester, and probably no other choices here. But still, you can still go with the 1 mana 2 damage effect to fend off early aggression, or maybe just kill off any planeswalkers that are relevant in this matchup. So lastly, we go with the mana source. We have 4 new cards. The reprint and the return of Sulphurous Sphinx in standard. It's still very relevant, but I'm not pretty sure if the damage effect would be a good or a bad thing in the setup. And we also have 4 Haunted Raids to fix, and 2 copies of each of the utility creatures from Kamigawa, and just basic Swamps and Mountains. So just begin to wrap this up early, we're just going to see how it will look like in this setup for a red or black-red aggro deck in post-rotation standard. So a quick check on the deck stats. Black producers 15, so basically the same with the setup. Average mana cost is 2, from 2 to 3, but still going to be an average 2 mana cost because of the other mana sink abilities later on. And some of the deck tokens that you can use: Copy, Effects, Devils from Omnixilis, and Spirit from the token of the Renaissance channel ability. So basically that's a wrap for this deck tech. Stay tuned for more previews as we go along with continuous reveal of the set for Dominaria United, and what we would expect more on its effect on the next standard rotation. So I would suggest you would like and subscribe to the channel for more of this info and other interesting topics that may have Magic Pro, Magic related, and spoiler season of this Dominaria United set. That's about it. Thank you for watching this video, and until the next time.